that are promoted with. That is part of, this trip is part of one of such trips, and we're confident that beyond this meeting, that we're going to also be setting up some kind of a partnership between your organization and what they are doing, and how you can both work together to promote what you believe, and of course, your vision for promoting local content across the continent. Again, African Leadership Magazine is a Pan-African media publication. It tells the African story from an African standpoint. It's built primarily on the premise that for far too long, a lot of people have capitalized on the trite headline of hunger, war, poverty, and famine as the dominant narrative across the globe regarding Africa. But we felt that it was important to also promote a refreshing view. Tell the world that there is so much happening in the continent. Tell the world that there are leaders who are also living legacy-based lives that should also be promoted. Tell the world that beyond the fact that Africa is, of course, houses seven of the fastest growing economies, that it's a huge place for business and commerce beyond what they are reporting globally. We know that the CNNs of this world and all the other institutions may not give us the requisite media space to do that. That's why we try to challenge the status quo by, of course, showcasing or promoting purposeful leadership through the African Leadership Platform. The magazine itself, of course, which is published monthly, tells the stories of Africans. We deliberately chose to report positives. We are not ignorant of the challenges that we have as a continent. We're not ignorant of, some of the issues, of course, that might be peculiar to the continent. But we know that there are other mediums that are dedicated to that. So we should take a detour, so to speak, and promote what is actually purposeful about the continent. Because in every individual and in every organization, in every leader, lies an inherent desire to do good. It leaves, they just need that little pat on the back, or so to speak, support, or see the good in them, to be able to, bring out that particular desire that they have to do good. That's basically what African leadership is about. So most times when you go to our website, you go to the magazine, what you find is basically the positives about the continent, telling the world that there is so much happening here that should also receive equal, if not even much more media attention and space than they are actually given at the moment. So that's what we've been about. And we also do that through the African Leadership Awards. Our events, beyond the awards, we also have conferences and workshops dedicated towards actually building capacity and promoting peer review among leaders, both, of course, at the political level and at the business level. So the African Leadership Awards is one of those, those awards. We organize the annual International Forum on African Leadership. It holds every year at the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly meeting. But for the past 2 years now, because of COVID, we've actually done it virtually. If not for COVID, this year we should actually be in New York organizing the African, the political leadership awards that we normally do every year. Of course, we also have the African Leadership, the Persons of the Year that happens every year. The Persons of the Year for the past 9 years have actually become a benchmark, so to speak, or a platform for recognizing those who Africans truly feel have impacted their different countries, institutions, organizations, or whatever sector they may be involved with. That's actually one of such platforms that we use to honor Africans. Now we have the African Business Leadership Awards, because we recognize that the business leaders, the institutions that promote business, actually hold the ace to make the continent, depopulate the unemployment markets and create jobs, which is a major challenge in the continent. That's why for us, it's a primary section for us to promote. And that's actually what brings us today to Bayelsa, Yenagoa to be precise, and this beautiful edifice that you have here. Sometime, I think about 4 months ago, the process started. We have a 3-step process of selecting Africans who should be honored across different sections and during the African Business Leadership Awards. Now, the 3-step process starts with a call for nomination, where we send a very a detailed and well-circulated call for nomination, asking Africans from every part of the world to tell us who they feel should be honored and say, who should be our African Business Leader of the Year? Who should be the Company of the Year? Who should receive the CEO of the Year? Those sections, we have about 13 of them. And of course, we realized that it was also important to include local content, which is a major problem across the continent, not only in Nigeria, trying to promote, indigenous growth, as it were, that is not tied to multinationals or big corporations, because we do not have a fair playing ground with some. We can compete with these multinationals if we were to give them the same opportunity. And this year, upon inclusion, we received, I think, close about 50 or 60 nominations nominating the Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board. Now, that first nomination is actually the first stage. It meant that our editors and, some of our judging panel will have to sit and sift through most of the materials that were submitted by those who nominated. And during the sifting period, we actually reduced. It was a Herculean task trying to get, our people from Ghana, from Mauritius, from South Africa, and all these countries that we've received submissions from. We now have to reduce them to just about 3. Imagine when you have about 105 or thereabout nominations from different places, and asking you that this is the reason why I think this person should actually get this award this year. And we had to reduce it to 3. Now, among that 3, Africans will have to decide, not just Nigerians, who they feel should actually get the award, the final award. And most times, actually, what we do is that we open it to voting. People are allowed to vote. So you go to the website. In fact, we had, for the 2-3 weeks that the poll was on, we had a lot of calls. We had a lot of people, because I think it was a gentleman from Ghana who had massive, probably obviously because when he got the wind of his nomination, none of them were informed that they were nominated. None of the recipients were informed. It was through our press releases and, of course, our third-party online distributors that they picked up this news from. I'm sure most of them, family and friends, would tell them, oh, I just picked up, are you aware of this? Most of them had always been the same story. Even for the African Leadership Awards that happen every year, it is always the same story, deliberately, because we don't want to establish that contact with those we've actually nominated until we see the process through, because it might be open to influence. When you tell them, oh, I'm doing this, and you find people trying to undo each other to get there. So we just left it at that. So we got a lot of votes. I think the gentleman from Ghana had a lot of massive following, did a lot of media campaigns, and the clock was ticking. I think we got a call, my office in the UK got a call on, I think, a week or so to the expiration of the voting, that there appears to be some manipulation, because the gentleman from Nigeria, who was not in the first, his vote, the vote tally for him was far below, but all of a sudden we woke up and we saw that the progression is quite astronomical. So something must be happening. It's obvious that probably maybe they are manipulating it, and we told them that this platform for the voting was actually hosted by an independent party. And we invested so much to make sure, because we've seen a lot of people question. In fact, we had a lot of media organizations during some African and international media organization who had wanted an interview with us when we did I think it was in 2018, when we had our African Leadership Persons of the Year, that were asking us to say, no, a lot of this other people who did not win are asking that this process was rigged. What do you have to say? So what we now did was that to consult an independent party in the UK, that provides the voting platform, that provides the certification for the votes at the end of the year and the tally, so that it is easier, so that when it is a problem, we can submit those issues. So that's what happened. And we told them, this is an impeccable, we can guarantee that at least we are confident that this system is not rigged. These are actual votes coming in, and it has not even closed. We are hopeful that at the end of the day, we'll see what happens. So at the end of that very rigorous process, and the voting and everything that happened, Engineer Simbi Wabote, the Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, emerged the winner of the local African Local Content Icon Award. Now, because we also know that everyone who made it through to that stage is actually a winner. Looking at the process, that, what culminated into that event. So we had other commendation awards to also say, look, you've done well, but in every contest, there must be a winner. And we recognize that because you've also done very well, you should also be commended. So it was on the 17th, the formal presentation happened on the 17th of September. That was a Friday ago, or 2 Fridays ago. It was a virtual meeting. It had in attendance the Vice President of Liberia, the Governor of the Bank of Mauritius, Seychelles, and Ghana. It had some government ministers and leaders from across, the continent who participated and formally received their various awards in different categories. But we selected, a couple of persons who we felt had done extremely well. For his category, there was over 15,000 votes for that category. Not just from Nigerians. That was an interesting part of it. Not just from Nigerians. We saw a lot of votes from the US. We saw a lot of votes from the UK. We also saw a lot of votes from, other possibly, when you put up names, people just go to research to find out what they've actually done. How have they progressed their institutions and all that. I guess that was why the votes kept coming in from different places that were actually not directly linked to Nigeria alone. So that was a major thing for us, and I felt it was important to, beyond the presentation that was done virtually, to also have some time, and since our visitors are in town, to come down and say, look, we found in the executive secretary a worthy partner and someone who should be supported beyond his immediate role to see how we can sell him, because when we find products like this, we must export them, we must sell them, we must tell the world that we found something that is worthy of promotion, something that is worthy, a story that must be told across the globe. And they are here today to help us tell that story, to see what you are doing and to see how we can all together lift, of course, the institution further, and also your leadership, and of course the leadership of everyone, members of your team that are seated here today. That's essentially why we had to come, formally to do a physical presentation, and also say, well done, African leadership has become a partner in progress with the Content Development and Monitoring Board, and we are hopeful that this relationship wouldn't end here, that it's just the beginning of something much more rewarding to happen. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I may have spoken so much, but I'm a journalist. That is what you expect of us. I tell stories, and this is just an opportunity to tell you how we got here, and also to say thank you for having us, and thank you for your amazing hospitality. I know it's not stated in the program, but I thought it was important to just give our visitors maybe a few minutes, 1 or 2 minutes, to for just a few remarks before we proceed with the program. With your permission, the MC, can I invite Rep. Laura Hall? Would you want to come up, just a word, a few remarks from you before we proceed with the program?
Good morning. To the Honorable Executive Secretary and your cabinet, I want to say congratulations. And best wishes for many more recognitions for your work. On behalf of the National Black Caucus of State Legislators, my name is Laura Hall. I represent House District 19, which is in Alabama, Madison County, the northern part of Alabama, in the state legislature. As a president-elect of the National Black Caucus of State Legislators, I'd also like to say that we look forward to continuing this opportunity that I have today and being in your presence, and having you also to come to visit with us to share your experiences in terms of how you have dealt with the challenges that you're facing here today. We face those same challenges in our country and in our state as well, we are continuing to work to look at ways in terms of making sure how African Americans have benefits as a result of contracts and building and activities that are spending our tax dollars to make sure that that type of recognition, that type of engagement, that type of involvement that you've chosen here is done in our country and in our state. So I say thank you for the work that you've done. Thank you for being a part of such a great organization, and I look forward to our continuing to have dialogue and collaboration as we work to create an environment and a community where all of us have an opportunity to share. Thank you.
Let me also very quickly just, I would like to invite Honorable D. Dawkins Hagler for her few remarks, if you may, ma'am.
Good morning. I am D. Dawkins Hagler, the Executive Secretary. Thank you so much for all you've done. And I just want to say to all of the cabinet and all of you all who are here, I'm glad to be here because Africa is rising. Africa is not the next frontier. Africa has always been the frontier. And so it's very important that we bridge the gap between those on the continent and in the diaspora. So I want to just thank you for what you do and promoting local content. And I know that once we all get together on the same page, because the Western world has tried to divide us, but God is bringing us all back together to do great things. So thank you for the great work.
All right, thank you very much. Over to you, MC. Thank you.
A round of applause again for Kingsley Okeke. And sir, I now understand why they say you're a gifted orator and a communicationist. Please put your hands together for him again. And indeed, the board has recorded so many achievements. If the music is good, we play it twice. And because the ear is effective, he's in a second tenure. May I at this point invite the media crew to please play the documentary on NCDMB achievements so you can understand why people will go outside of their various zones and territories and vote for someone in Nigeria. As we heard Kingsley Okeke say that they voted from the United States of America and the United Kingdom. So let's see the achievements of the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board.
Established to regulate and promote the development and utilization of in-country capacities for the industrialization of Nigeria through the effective implementation of the NOTIC Act of 2010. The Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, NCDMB, have experienced tremendous growth over the years in line with its 10-year strategic roadmap. The board recorded success in the establishment of an FPSO integration facility, installed 2 world-class pipe mills, a pipe coating and electrical cable manufacturing plant, established the Oil and Gas Park Scheme, successfully organized the Nigerian Oil and Gas Opportunity Fair, increased capacity of indigenous companies through the Nigerian Content Intervention Funds managed by the Bank of Industry. The board also took equity investment in Waltersmith as well as Ezekiel Modular Refineries, similar investments with Ron Gas for LPG cylinder manufacturing, Chimon's Gas Limited, and also Bonor Integrated Energy Limited. The Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, NCDMB, is not rested on its oars, as the board is riveted on pursuing and materializing projects that will promote in-country manufacturing, domiciliation of work, employment generation, capacity enhancement, and capital retention. NCDMB is providing the rallying point for Nigerians to recognize the imperative of local content practice, not just in the oil and gas sector, but also in other critical sectors of the economy. Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, NCDMB, building local capacity in the Nigerian oil and gas industry.
And now, without time wasting, we'll move to the goodwill messages. I would like to invite first the Director, Planning, Research and Statistics, Mr. Patrick Oba, to please step forward for goodwill messages. All right, we'll move straight to Mr. Bright Amatoro, Pengasing Chairman, NCDMB. Please put your hands together for him.
Thank you very much, my quintessential Executive Secretary, for this great privilege. Thank you, Directors here present, General Managers here present, managers. Permit me to also recognize the presence of the awarders, all the invited guests here present, my colleagues, comrades, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor to be here with wonderful personalities like you. Today, we are looking at one of the very best moments in human history, where our own first-class Executive Secretary, a personality of Engineer Simbi, Wabote, is being recognized as one of the best leaders in Africa and the world at large. Yes, sir. We heartily felicitate with you on your meritorious selection as winner of the African Local Content Icon Award during the 2021 African Business Leadership Award, organized by the African Leadership Magazine. So your selection as winner of the African Local Content Icon Award is clearly evident of your numerous landmark accomplishments and your passion in championing the development of local content across African continent, thereby providing guidance to several African countries on the implementation of local content policies. While celebrating this feat, we are confident that you will sustain the gains of your outstanding contributions toward local content development in Nigeria and across the African oil and gas industry. We are equally confident that you remain focused on the delivery of the strategic initiatives underpinning the board's 10-year strategic roadmap and the mandate to the nation without compromising standard. On behalf of the Branch Executive Council and the entire members of Pengasing NCDMB branch, I assure you of our continuous support in the spirit of collaboration, which is in line with our set target of 99.9% industrial harmony. As we look forward to a more peaceful, impactful, and fruitful years ahead. We wish you great success into one purpose, one vision, one mission, and ultimately great hope for the future of NCDMB, Nigeria, and the entire African oil and gas industry. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you very much, the chairman of Pengasin, NCDMB, Mr. Bright Amatoro. And now we'd like to invite to speak on behalf of the women of the NCDMB, Khadija Jakine. Please put your hands together for her as she steps forward.
Good morning, everyone. Permit me to stand on existing protocol. I want to say a big thank you to the organizing committee and the African Leadership magazine, also the NCDMB management, for giving me this opportunity to deliver this speech. The ability to turn a vision into reality is what leadership is all about. This is a goodwill message to our very own Executive Secretary on his iconic award. Sir, you have the capacity to bring men and women together for a common goal, and your character inspires us. It's one thing to dream big, but it's quite another to act on those dreams and make them reality. You're not just a dreamer, sir, but an achiever. One of your major achievements for the women in the industry has been the $40 million Women in Oil and Gas Intervention Fund for female entrepreneurs. Your perseverance and determination have led to your accomplishments. The path to success is paved with stumbling blocks. While some give up and turn around, you, on the other hand, persevere. And we know that this is just the first of many achievements that the future will bring your way. Your soft spot for us, the NCDMB ladies, has indeed given us a voice. To our very dear and truly loved Executive Secretary, Engineer Simbi Wabote, congratulations on your award and recognition as the African local content icon. Thank you.
Indeed, it is obvious the NCDMB is gender-friendly under the Executive Secretary. Sir, if the women are not happy with you, they will make your working environment very unconducive. But we can see that the women are happy with you. It's the same thing at home. If we're not happy with you, it's better, what do they say? If your home is not at peace, it's better you go to the road and sleep. But it's obvious that you are carrying the women along, as we popularly say, and so they are pleased. Please put your hands together for him again. I would like to now invite to also make his remarks on behalf of the General Managers, Engineer Paul Zuhumben. Please put your hands together for him.
Good afternoon or morning, the Executive Secretary, our guests from African leadership. I think it's better I just observe the existing protocol because standing on it, it may break, considering my weight. The Executive Secretary, sir, sometimes we wonder who is a leader. But we have learned from books that a leader is somebody who is able to attract followership and lead them to achieve a common goal with the same objective. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, is our Executive Secretary a leader? And if he is a leader in it, has he succeeded? Has he met it? I think the right word is that I expected to say he has exceeded. Because if you look at what a leader is it in terms of walking the talk? Is it in terms of integrity? Is it in terms of communication? Is it in terms of empathy? Is it in terms of delegation? The delegation is not only delegation, but delegation with empowerment. I'm convinced the African leadership look at all these attributes and they found our leader. The leader that will sacrifice himself for the people. I think a lot of us we saw a difference between different leaders. And ESA, we can say you are a leader, that you are a mentor, and we'll always look up to you. In fact, I want the union to take note. This is a leader that has implemented the slogan, injury to one, injury to all. Is that not true? So we need to clap for him again. Alert, right? Okay. I think he's not just a leader of alert, but a leader that produces results. See where we are seated. That's why on behalf of the GMs, they send me as a messenger of only this message. The GM FLD says, ES, you have made his life easy for completing this edifice where we are seated. He would have been running from here to everywhere to get a hall that would have accommodated our international guests. Thank you for providing us this edifice called Nigerian Content Tours. The GM capacity, he is not here, but his spirit is here with us. He says, thank you for supporting him for the hackathon, the first by any government agency to introduce a science and technology challenge. The message from the GM research, he said, ES, there's no country that will survive without innovation, having research to establish or identify things that can be used locally in the true sense of it to ensure that the oil and gas industry succeed. He says he's very proud of you. He will continue to seek for your support, and thank you for the support. The GM communications. If you look at what is happening here, it's part of communication and technology. You have supported him not only to talk about local content in Bayelsa, but also in Sokoto. So what is in Sokoto is also in Sokoto. He said thank you for giving him that. The GM and STA, who is part of you, your strategies, the no-gaps would have been a mirage, if not because of your support and type of leadership. He said I should extend a thank you to you. The GM HR, the industrial harmony we are enjoying, if not because of your support, I think they would have been carrying placards and blocked these guests, and our international guests would have been embarrassed. Thank you for the empathy, for the welfare. You have extended not only to staff that are working for you, but for your care, which you even over-demonstrated during the COVID last year up to this moment. Our families are really grateful. We have other GMs, but just to keep it short and brief, the GM speaking to you now, project and certification. We know we had a lot of challenges putting Trend 7 during the COVID. ES, thank you very much for the support, the experience, the professionalism, the integrity in running this. Without you, as the leader and guiding us, we wouldn't have been talking of Trend 7 today. I also want to thank you on behalf of the staff, the division and their staff. We know for a government organization to talk about service level agreement, like I've said in the past, I'm not surprised because of your antecedents when you were still with Shell. Your concern was to shorten the contracting cycle, which in the history of the world, we have one of the longest contracting cycles in the country, in the world, 48 months minimum. And when you were in Shell, you set up the lean team to bring that process into a lean process that will achieve even 12 months. We couldn't because of bureaucracy. I was not surprised when you take the leadership of, when you came here in charge of the leadership of NCDMB, the first thing you introduced was the SLA, which means a government organization saying, if you send me a document and after 10 to 15 working days you've not heard from me, take it as approved and continue. ES, under your guidance, we have implemented that SLA that we can, if only left to NCDMB, put a project within 6 months in this country. That is a very great achievement, sir. I will not forget to also thank you on behalf of all of us secondees from our various organizations, inclusive of those who supported you from Shell, to thank you for the recognition and support and the appreciation of our work. It's not easy. I think before you came in here, we had staff into two groups, secondees and Nigerian content staff. But under your guidance, we see ourselves as one family. Well done, sir. I have a lot to say because, you know, if you work with somebody, it's just like you have a wife in the house who is always very nice, you'll always want coming home. So if you leave me here, I will continue to talk and will not end this award. On behalf of the GMs, we want to thank the African Magazine Leadership for the award of the African Local Content Icon to our leader. In fact, he deserves more than that. He's somebody who does not recognize publicity of his achievement. And therefore, we are very proud of you for recognizing, and we hope other organizations will also come and fish him out and give him more recognitions. ES, we are very proud of you, and congratulations on behalf of all the GMs and their staff. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. We can understand that you are very happy. It is only happiness that will make you almost wax poetic. Please put your hands together for him. You know, while he was making his remarks, giving personalized messages from each of the general managers, he was also asking, is the ES not a good leader? I was hearing, yes, from here. So now, since he did not call a vote, now let me call a vote. Those in favor of the ES as a good leader, say aye. Aye. Those that are against, the security people are waiting for you. All right, may I at this point now invite to also make his remarks on behalf of the Top Management Committee, the Director Planning Research and Statistics, Mr. Patrick Oba.
All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I went out to answer the call of nature, and I heard my name was called. I was a bit embarrassed, but somehow I thought that I had to look for someone who probably does not have the need to answer the call of nature that is seated here. So if you are not part of that category, say aye. Okay, thanks for being part of me. When I came in, I thought I would be ushered in to deliver my goodwill message on behalf of my colleague directors and then TMC. Somehow I met some very eloquent members of the board, dishing out what they know best. And in this context, what they know best is no other person than the man who flies the flag of NCDMB on our behalf. And somehow, people that are not very familiar with this environment might think, yes, it could be sugar-coated, prose, something like looking for attention because the celebrant is here, the organization that fished him out through his credentials are here, so let's pad him a bit. But that is very far from the truth. The executive secretary and the icon of local content in Africa. People don't understand the challenges that we have today as a result of practicing local content in a contemporary world. Local content is what has developed every part of the world. But today, because we've given it a name, local content, and in some cases, Nigerian content, it is becoming unpopular because others have achieved their desired thresholds, and so they are running on automation. For us, we are just beginning to crank the engine. So I want to thank you, sir, for being at the forefront and continuing to shine the light that this is the way to go. Let me at this point in time thank the organizers of this particular event. It is a big challenge for a magazine of this repute to showcase the benefits of local content, not in a country, but on the continent of Africa. Africa has a very long history. Most of us know that history. But in terms of coloration, thank God we are black people. But it's draw the map and say this is a dark continent. And we also tell that same story, that we are a dark continent. We must change the narrative, and that's why I like the message given by Kingsley Okeke. You know exactly what you're doing, because the narrative has to be changed. In terms of how we tell our stories, in terms of our achievements, and in terms of what we intend to achieve. But a major part of that story has to be bringing people together. How do you intend to bring champions from different aspects of the African life together to be able to achieve the African dream? If at all, we have defined the African dream. But today, let me agree with you that you have defined a section of that dream, and that is local content for Africa. Invited guests, thanks for traveling down here. I'm happy that you're identifying with us. This edifice you're seeing, this is part of the edifice. I'm sure you've been to the office, the main tower. Many people will never believe that what you are seeing here was built by a Nigerian and a Bayelsan. So we have local content and local content. So indeed we are proud because the results speak for themselves. Today we are seated here, and this building compares to any that I've been to in any part of this world. And I'm proud to be part of this project. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, now I can say a very good morning to all of you. So on behalf of my colleagues, members of the top management committee, that include the Director Monitoring and Evaluation, Mr. Tunde Adolana, Director of Finance and Personnel Management, Mr. Isaac Yala, Barrister Umar Mohamed, and Mrs. Maureen Ohiari, I would like to say a few words about this event. First, it's about the African Leadership magazine. I've already thanked you before, but I will thank you again for doing just exactly what you're doing now. While you were giving your speech, Okeke, You told us how you were able to get the credentials of our star man, the star boy, not star man, star boy. You told us. And I was really, really impressed that you took all those transparent steps to be able to get to where you reached at the time. So thanks for running a very transparent process. And I think that is what, the lack of that is why people don't respect us outside the shores of Africa. They feel that everything that we do, there is always a back route to get into where we want to get to. But thanks for that transparency. And I feel you should be able to amplify it, tell people to tell that story. It's a transparent process. And that is one thing that is very good and clear with the leadership style of Engineer Simbi Wabote. I'm not mincing words. I'm not sugarcoating anything. That is the truth. The second thing is for you to give me that answer. It's a personal answer you give to me, why there was no runner-up. But if I have to help you, it is because of the relevance of this category of award in the sphere of business. Businesses have been done in Africa for like centuries. Why is it that this one, cuts out as if it's a little bit stony? That's because it's difficult to achieve. And yes, thank you, you're able to climb the hill. Now, about the awardee. The awardee has raised the bar of Nigerian content practice over the last 5 years. And not only that, he has set new targets up until 2027. And he has set up machineries to ensure that we work towards it and achieve all of that, whether he's here or not. And that is why you see all of us as lieutenants. Our greatest concern is succession. What happens when this man leaves? What happens when those of us that are as lieutenants leave? And that's a direct message to those of us that are colleagues here to ensure that this legacy does not die with the exit of Engineer Simbi Wabote as Executive Secretary of the board. So he has conscientiously and prudently managed the board's projects. I'm sure I wasn't here when the documentary was aired, but I believe some of the projects that we are doing would have been showcased, I'm sure. First example that we are witnessing currently is the headquarters building, as the premises we are in here, to be able to manage the completion of this building and giving it this kind of aesthetic appearance. And I think this is second to none, at least in Nigeria here, of all the public buildings I've been to. Again, there is a 10 megawatts gas power plant, something we never thought of. They brought it up to make sure that power is provided 24/7 to this facility that you have. And of course, he brought up another new concept. That is the board having equity investment in businesses, ongoing businesses in the country, or businesses that are struggling to take off, startups in the country. People will say, oh, the board is like investing. That is far away from that. Very, very far away. What, under the directives, the leadership of Engineer Simbi Wabote, he deliberately creating a platform where NCDMB would catalyze the industrialization of the Nigerian oil and gas sector through deliberate provisioning of resources that are lacking by the owners of those businesses, like funds, and even some kind of corporate governance issues that might be lacking. He does that also. I've been in some of these meetings, board meetings with him, and I hear him talk. I hear him contribute. I hear him provide solutions to problems that otherwise could have been difficult for even some entrepreneurs to handle. He provides all of that. And I'm indeed very, very happy. Sometimes I feel tempted to say, I'm learning from you, sir. Again, for those, our guests that are coming here, you may not know these companies by name, but I'm sure the name Modular Refinery might not sound strange to you. We have equity shareholdings with the following companies: Ezekiel Refinery, Walter Smith Refinery, DuPont Refinery, Atlantic Refinery. All these efforts are to ensure that these businesses take off smoothly so that they will be able to provide petrol for people, so that would cut down the amount of petrol that the country has to import from other countries by exporting what we have instead of refining them here. So you can see the foresightedness of Engineer Simbi, KCA, Wabote. We also have investments, equity investment in fertilizer and petrochemical plant where they're going to produce methanol, and also gas cylinder manufacturing company called Rongas. Again, looking inwards, he made sure that the board minimizes the use of hard copies like this. And so he ensures that every process be automated. And I can tell you, I guess as of today, more than 65% of our processes are automated and do not need hard copy to be done. He also created the $350 million Nigerian Content Intervention Fund to assist Nigerian businessmen and women in the oil and gas industry. You can imagine, this organization is just about 11 years old, with the teething problems of trying to see how an organization like this have to tick off. Setting aside $350 million just to ensure that Nigerians did their businesses well, that must be something that is quite commendable. So thank you, ES. He created a 10-year research and development roadmap. When you hear this, you say, oh, of course, Nigeria has so many professors. So what is the difference here? There is a very big difference from what used to be and what we are doing now. The emphasis on the 10-year research and development roadmap is to ensure that all viable research, all research outputs that are economically viable are pushed towards the level of commercialization. It has never happened before in this country, with strict supervision of the entire process. So that's what we are trying to do under his leadership. And setting aside a $50 million Nigerian Content Research and Development Fund. It is small. We know some countries up to, like Brazil, when we went there, they were talking about $600 and something million for that year. But this is just like the first step. And I think it's not a bad idea that we're starting with the $50 million to ensure that all aspects of the research and development value chain are well taken care of in that process. Training of youth and retraining of teachers. I'm glad that my eloquent representative of the GMs made mention of that. So I don't need to talk much about it, but that is something that we have done a lot. And strengthening inclusiveness by bringing in host communities and then women. This is something that is actually new. He brought what is called the Community Content Guideline. So it has never been there before. All the conflicts between host communities and the operators has always been because there is no clear guideline that spells out the relationship between host communities and the businessmen. They only rely on what is called the MOUs or GMOUs. You see them? Yeah, we'll round up. It's our man. I believe this is one of those days that we have to say all that we know about him. So allow us to say what we want to say. So that has been done. You didn't want me to mention the $40 million that has been provided for women. Come and do business. We'll make sure that you benefit from that, madam. So in terms of corporate governance, on a scale of 1 to 10, my colleagues and I are rating you 15. So you can see from here that you are here. That's it. So we have described your leadership style as being dutiful, deliberate, conscious, and prudent. I know there are a lot of other adjectives. We have also looked around and said, okay, let us add social communication because you are just wonderful in that area, amazing. We have also looked around and said, what about integrity? Amazing. What about empathy? Amazing. What about delegation? Amazing. What about taking time to supervise tasks that you have delegated your staff to do? Is there something better than amazing? Awesome. You know? And of course, support. Awesome. So thank you, ES, for having these very rare attributes. You are just one of those few people that will combine these attributes with enormous energy to deliver. And I'm not mincing words, that is the truth. And that's why you have been able to achieve the much that you have done. And we are ready to continue to support you. But there is something. Okeke and Paul Zumben talked around Africa after exiting Nigeria. That is something that we have to take very serious. With the birthing of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, that is a challenge for Africans. Some parts of the world are singing their tunes, no to local content. Africa is saying this is the time to practice local content. What examples are there in the world for us to learn from so that we'll be able to say, this country did this country did that, this country did this. So we must also do the same thing to be able to grow our economies. So yes, thanks for setting the ball rolling and in the right direction and also giving us matching orders to be able to get other African bodies that are willing to implement this mandate. We will be there with you, to work with you, to ensure that we fly the flag on behalf of this country and ensure that there is real local content practice in Africa. So, on this note, I will say thank you for giving me your ears.
You know, this is the kind of situation where you have small kids saying, I no go agree, I no go agree, I no go agree. I'm crying foul. When I saw Mr. Patrick Oba coming and I saw small paper, I was deceived. I thought it was just going to be a very short remark. I did not know on that paper it was bullet points. Exterics, bullet points, and then he will now do the explanation. He was speaking most of the time extempore. What was on the paper were just bullet points. I'm crying foul here. And you know, while he was saying, he said diligence, awesome, the other one amazing. So let me join him and add humility, awesome, amazing. And now it's time for us to be entertained. Bayelsa State is blessed to have this particular group. Whenever they come and they perform, it gives me so much joy. And I believe that joy is not just limited to me, it's all over. That is why they are champions back to back for the National Festival for Arts and Culture. For them to win such awards back to back, it means I'm not the only one that is impressed with their performances. They tell you stories in form of dances and dramas, and they introduce to you the rich cultural heritage that Bayelsa State is not just the first state where oil was struck in commercial quantity, but it is also a state filled with rich culture, heritage, and history. And this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to invite this group of persons to perform for you, the Bayelsa State Council for Arts and Culture. Please put your hands together for them. Shortly they will start performing. They're just putting their thoughts together. This Bayelsa State Council for Arts and Culture made the story Oloibiri very popular. It's a very poignant story that when they tell, you begin to feel what Bayelsa State has gone through in our history. All right, over to you.
Engineer Simbi, Wabote, very patriotic and innovative.
Very kind and considerate.
Very hardworking and punctual.
Very frank, simple and disciplined.
Very focused and generous.
Determined to open up Bayelsa to investment and industrialization.
Hence, in the last 5 years, Engineer Wabote, through the operations of the NCDMB, championed integrated development and industrialization in Bayelsa State as never seen before.
First, he supervised the construction of the Nigerian Content Tower, the tallest building in the south and southeastern part of the country. He also supervised the construction of the 10-megawatt power plant, which is providing electricity to the Bayelsa State government offices.
Under him,
NCDMB also trained 1,000 science and mathematics teachers across Bayelsa State. He led the construction and equipping of several ICT and science laboratories, renovated several classes in so many parts of Bayelsa.
He has also approved the training of more than 50 physically challenged persons in various artisanal skills. He has also approved the sponsorship of over 20 Bayelsa youths in sea-time training in USA, Egypt, Singapore, and India.
He is leading the construction of oil and gas park at Emeyawan, Bayelsa State for the manufacturing of oil and gas spare parts, which has created hundreds of jobs and will create more when completed.
He brought in the company called Ron Gas to Opokma. Then he started to make a composite gas cylinder in Bayelsa State.
He has approved that NCDMB should sponsor band partner like Azikiwe Refinery at Okpoma and Atlantic Refinery at Okpoma in order to open up Bayelsa to create job opportunity for the youth in the states.
He is behind the setting and commencement of several other projects like the Brass Petroleum Product Terminal,
Oloibri Museum and Research Center that has been developed in the state. Engineer
Simbi, KCA Wabote is indeed a blessing to humanity. So
let us celebrate him.
Come foul. Engineer Simbi, bang by name ring ye. Bio be mute must say, Ben cock bang ye. Name me a bias up to be must say, Moye. Wait, doy, Umbe ma bio say, Sanija. I can make Benija, 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 Puckanija, 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 Puckanija. Ma,
yeah. One don't cut the gamo botongue. Wabo Sagi engineer Simbi, Wabote, Wabote Bobe, almost to Piafrema Barano, Wabo Sagi Pretty Bobe, or work not me, or work not me, Ero Aboyo, Ero Aboyo, Ero Aboyo, Ero.
Oh,
ye mo. Yo ye mo in the fire about to boy yo ye mo.
Yo ye mo in the fire to buy yo ye mo. Yo ye mo in the fire to buy yo ye mo.
Yo ye mo in the fire to boy yo ye mo. Yo ye mo in the fire to boy yo ye mo.
Yo ye mo in the fire to buy yo ye mo. Yo ye mo in the fire to buy yo ye mo.
Yo ye mo in the fire to boy yo ye mo. Yo ye mo in the fire to boy yo ye mo.
Yo ye mo in the fire to buy yo ye mo. Yo ye mo in the fire to buy yo ye mo.
Koliko. Koliko.
Thank you so much, the Bayelsa State Council for Arts and Culture. Dexterous movements there. You know, there was a certain young man that asked, where the zone people got their dance steps from, and if he can learn. And of course, a very mischievous Bayelsan told him that actually we got the dance steps from the tail of the fish, the way it moves, and that he should go and study the fish, and then he automatically know how to dance. And as I speak, I believe he has a basin and a fish, and he's still studying the fish. I don't think he can dance yet. At this point, I would like to invite, we're moving straight to the climax of this event, which is the presentation. We'll take the short documentary first on engineer Simbi KCA Wabote. And after that, I'll be inviting Mr. Kingsley Okeke and his team to make the presentation of the award to the Executive Secretary. So can we please have the documentary, please?
Engineer Simbi Keseye Wabote holds a Master of Science degree from Leeds Metropolitan University and a Bachelor's degree in Civil Engineering from Rivers State University of Science and Technology, Port Harcourt. He is also a graduate of INSEAD Group Leadership Program, a Fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, a Fellow of the Institute of Petroleum Studies, a current registered engineer, and a member, Institute of Civil Engineers, London. Born 2nd February 1966 and a native of Okwama, Braz local government area of Bayelsa State, Engineer Wabote is married to Sotoye with 3 lovely daughters. He joined Shell Petroleum Development Company, SPDC Nigeria Limited, in September 1991 as an oil and gas engineer after a short stint with the banking industry in Nigeria. While with the company, he held various senior positions within Nigeria and in several countries in Africa, Europe, North America, Middle East, Asia, and new frontier countries in engineering, local content development, contracting and procurement, government relations, and community affairs. Engineer Wabote has proficient skill sets in engineering, project management, local content strategic development, women capacity building, government relations, and stakeholders management. Through hard work and commitment, he rose to the enviable position of the Executive Director of Shell and General Manager Business and Government Relations for Shell Companies in Nigeria, SCIN. On the 29th of September 2016, President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, appointed Wabote as the Executive Secretary, Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, NCDMB. After a sterling performance in his first term of office, he was reappointed for the second tenure on the 25th of September 2020. Engineer Wabote has re-engineered the operations of the NCDMB and pioneered the development and deployment of a 10-year strategic roadmap which serves as the compass for local content development and implementation in Nigeria. He spearheaded the rapid development of the Nigerian oil and gas park in Odukpani, Cross River State, and Emeyo 1 in Bayelsa State, and championed the launch of the $350 million Nigerian Content Intervention Fund, NCI Fund, to provide low-cost and accessible credit to service companies. He brought his engineering experience and project management skills to accelerate the construction of the board's new headquarters building complex, leading to the completion and commissioning of the 17-story office building, 1,000-seater auditorium, and a multi-level car park under 5 years. He also pioneered the development and deployment of the Service Level Agreement SLA between the board of the Nigerian LNG, Oil Producers Trade Section, and Indigenous Petroleum Producers Group, which has reduced the oil industry tendering cycle time to 6 months and fast-track development of new projects. He insisted on the full automation of NCDMB's process and procedures, which have reduced the turnaround time of both approvals and service interventions. Under his watch, NCDMB catalyzed the successful integration of one of the largest floating production storage and offloading FPSO at the SHIMCI yard at the Ladol Free Trade Zone, Lagos, the first time in the entire Gulf of the Guinea. It facilitated PD approvals for the $12 NLNG Train 7 project and the signing of the contract in the middle of COVID-19 pandemic to create 12,000 jobs and domicile 55% of the project in the country. Engineer Wabote also introduced key signature events such as the biannual Nigerian Oil and Gas Opportunity Fair and the Nigerian Research and Development Fair to showcase oil industry's opportunities for investment and galvanize research capabilities respectively. He has also used the annual Practical Nigerian Content Conference and exhibition to set agenda for the industry. He also championed NCDMB's equity investment in 4 modular refineries, notably the Walter Smith 5,000 barrels per day facility, Azikels Petroleum's 12,000 barrels per day hydroskimming modular refinery, Atlantic International Refiner's 2,000 barrels plant, and Dopot Midstream's 2,500 barrels per day modular refinery. He spearheaded the board investment in Braz Fertilizer and Rongas composite gas cylinder manufacturing facilities in Polaku, Bayelsa State and Lekki Free Zone in Lagos. He also championed the board's enterprise development programs, notably the Project 100 Nigerian Oil and Gas Technology Hackathon and the Science and Technology Innovation Challenge SCIC for the higher institutions. In recognition of his outstanding leadership performance, Engineer Wabote has been conferred with several awards locally and internationally, including the Transformational Business Leader in Public Sector in 2019 by the Business Day newspaper. He was also recognized at the African Oil Week with a Global Award for Excellence for Outstanding Contribution to Sustainable Local Content. Conferment of African Local Content Icon Award on Engineer Simbi Wabote.
For him. Indeed, this is just brief, very brief, because if we decided to put everything here, we won't leave. If you can imagine the remarks from the Director of Policy Research, you can imagine if we decided to put his full CV. Please put your hands together for him again. I'll now be inviting Mr. Kingsley Okeke to please step forward so we do the presentation proper.
Okay, thank you very much, MC, once again. And before I do the presentation, I'd like to invite members of our delegation. Let me invite Honorable Laura Hall and Honorable D. Dawkins Hegler, as well as Mr. Awakalu to join me on stage as we do this presentation. And let me also, I didn't think we recognized the family that joined us all the way from the United States. Beautiful, wonderful family. Please, you're most welcome. I know you would love to have been here, but distance is no longer a barrier. Thank you for joining us. And the presentation today is actually, you know, it's important that I add this, that a couple of the people we've honored in the past moved on to also be recognized by the president of, the former president of Liberia, Her Excellency Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. After our recognition, suffice to add, I mean, it's important that we add that it's possible that our Nobel Peace Prize would also, there were considerations from some of the things we promoted and did that, you know, that showcased what she was doing in Liberia before her second term. The same thing for the president of, the former president of Namibia, who was also honored by the Mo Ibrahim Foundation shortly after our awards in New York. Then the current president of Ethiopia was also recognized by the Nobel Peace Prize, with a Nobel Peace Prize. I'm hopeful that this is just the beginning of many more recognitions, like the director said, that will come globally for what you're doing, because the work you're doing is a very important one. and should be recognized by all those who truly mean well for the continent and for Nigeria in particular. On that note, let me invite you on stage to join us, and I think we'll centralize it. A round of applause as he joins us on stage for the have a mic. I'll just invite President Laura Hall to step forward very close to him. You help us hand out the award. And just right next to him, okay, Honorable D, and then we'll take a group picture afterwards. This is the award of the African Local Content Icon Award, presented to Engineer Simbi Wabote for his sterling leadership and commitment to the promotion of local content in Nigeria, and of course, coordinating across the African continent. Let me present it to Honorable Laura Hall to help us do the presentation.
Thank you very much. The ES will now be making his acceptance remarks. But before he does that, I would like to inform us that this program is being streamed live. And even though you didn't see the ES's spouse and children, they are actually joining us live. So they are watching the entire program. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. So that I don't move away with you. Absolutely. I hope this, okay. First, let me start with the Master of Ceremony. My dear sister, who started by speaking the dialect of Okpoma, and she was asked to interpret what she said. Be rest assured that the interpretation will be private. So I keep you guessing what she said. But under a special arrangement, that interpretation will come. So MC, thank you very much. Let me start by recognizing Honorable Laura Hall, the President-elect, National Black Caucus of the State Legislators, United States of America. Honorable D. Dunkins Hagler, former Chair, Georgia Congressional Black Caucus. Mr. Awa Kalu, Member, African Leadership Editorial Board, Nigeria, and my dear friend, Kingsley Okeke, the Group Managing Editor, African Leadership Magazine, United Kingdom. The management and staff of the Nigerian Content Development Board, the Chairman and ESCO of the NCDMB chapter of Pengassan, my dear friends, well-wishers, and other stakeholders who are also connected virtually, I also wish to recognize my family. You can see on the screen, my wife, my 3 daughters. One of them is missing her glasses. If not, the common denominator in my house is that the 5 of us put on glasses. And at times I turn around, want to blame my wife, and then I look at myself, I have my glasses on. So it's a common trait. So she's missing. That's my last daughter, Priye, who is not putting on her glasses. Gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and others who are joining us virtually. I know my family wanted to be here by all means, but we went to attend the graduation ceremony of my first daughter. I think she's the one on the left, Nengi, who graduated as an architect from Syracuse University. So my wife is there midwifing them. She would have loved to be here with us. One thing that did excite me when I went to attend the graduation ceremony of Syracuse University, I'm sure my friends from the United States knows the status of that university. And the valedictorian of that event that I attended was a Nigerian who gave the valedictory speech, where you had a crowd of about 2,000 graduates and also people watching from all over the world. It made me really feel very proud to be a Nigerian. And of course, I also saw my daughter walking up the aisle to also receive her certificate of merit. This is a special occasion for me. I really did not think it would turn out this way. My colleagues on the board, TMC, decided to surprise me with this event. I had thought, arriving here yesterday, it would just be the OKK and team coming to present this plaque to me in the office. I had no clue, I must confess, that an event like this is being put together. So let me thank my directors and all the members who got together to put together this surprise for me. It is indeed a pleasant surprise, I must say. It is, most of the times, you get inundated with various awards coming from different areas of Nigeria and beyond. And I think Abayomi knows, my STA, that we at times look at them and I ask my colleagues and say, look, we are not going to accept this. We usually turn them down because we don't see them as really promoting what we stand for. So on this occasion for the African Leadership Award, I had no clue, like Okeke said. It was my daughter in the US who sent the link to me to say, Dad, are you aware that you are being nominated for an award? Prior to she sending it to me, so a couple of days before then, one of my directors, the Director of Legal Services, went to represent me in Abuja to collect an award where it was also Africa related. So when she sent it to me, I then responded to say, oh, this happened last week, that the award was given to me last week. And the young lady insisted to say, no, they are voting. So I decided to open the link to know what was going on. That was when I saw that it was a different award. So I said, how did you get it? She said, no, a friend sent it to her. I said, well, I don't know how I got nominated, but it is what it is. Let's watch the voting. So everybody started passing it on to people who believed, and the voting started. So I had no clue that I was to be given an award. That's why for me, it is indeed special. And thank you, African Leadership, for that, because I had no clue that such an award was coming my way. Let me clearly say that I thank the organizers of this Business Leadership Award for selecting me as the winner of the African Local Content Icon Award. The award in itself is very unique, as it highlights the importance of local content within the continent and even across the globe. It is a big challenge, and I think when the delegation from the US got into my office, the question that was asked me was, what are the challenges you face in this role as the Executive Secretary of the Local Content Board? And I said to her, one of the greatest challenge is the difference in capacity between the developed world and Africa, and then narrowing it down to Nigeria in terms of providing services in the oil and gas industry. It is a phenomenal difference if you take where we are coming from in this business. Prior to the establishment of this board and the enactment of the Act, the percentage of in-country value that was created in the oil and gas industry was less than 3%. Everything in relation to the industry was done outside this country. Most of it in America, most of it in Aberdeen, most of it in Canada. Even things as simple as conceptual design is taken out of this country. So the value that was created was next to nothing. Maybe so because the government then relied solely on taxes, income tax, royalties, and all the taxes they get from the oil sector. There was no drive for value addition, for Nigerian participation in the industry. I used to say to my colleagues, back in the days when we were in Shell, when a company like NLNG started, 90% of the staff of NLNG were all expats. Not to talk of the entire leadership of Shell were all expats. We were told then that we had a limit as Nigerians. Probably get to supervisor level and you take it that you have achieved in life. But today the narrative has changed. NLNG has flipped. 90% of the staff in that organization are Nigerians. Also, in the oil and gas sector, today Shell could be proud of having people on the board who are Nigerians, and even the managing director of a company like Shell in Nigeria are Nigerians. Not to talk of Schlumberger, Halliburton, Baker, and all the service providers. These organizations are led by Nigerians. Just because of the drive, the commitment, and the push for localizing most of these positions that Nigerians have the capacity to take charge of. It is a huge struggle to get it done. Most of the times, you get into the realm of blackmail, where they tell you, we cannot do this project because local content is making it more expensive. They say it up to presidential prime minister level. This is being said. And of course, when it's said at that level, it is believed hook, line, and sinker. But the truth is, if you do the analysis, at the end of the day, it is cheaper if you do things locally and use local people to do such projects. A typical example is this building you are seated in. I think Patrick tried to describe it. The contractor that did this building is a community contractor. Hence, you then say you do local content and you do community content. He is from Bayelsa State that did this building that you see today. You can then compare the cost of this building as to if we had given it to an international company. No standard was compromised in construction of this building. There are several examples to attest to the fact that it is cheaper if you drive local content. Another example I give you, Paul spoke about it, is the Train 7. Not too many people know that when we went through the Train 7 project, the difference in price between a company that has established itself in Nigeria and another company coming from Europe to want to take the contract was $2 billion between the lowest bidder and the other company. Reason, because that company is domiciled here in Nigeria to provide services. So there are so many examples to justify the savings, the cost benefit when things are done locally. But out there, the story is different, that it is more expensive to do things locally. For Christ's sake, it is no brainer for me to know that the salary of a Nigerian compared to an expat, me coming from that industry, is like 5 to 1. So how can it be more expensive if things are done locally? Ladies and gentlemen, local content in itself, just to go back to the definition, is defined as the quantum of composite value added or created in an economy by a systemic development of capacities and capabilities through the deliberate utilization of its human, material resources and services. It means that the goal of every practitioner of local content is to create value and add value, develop industrial capacities, nurture human capabilities, and be very deliberate in ensuring the utilization of natural endowments and the potentials developed in country. I am delighted, no doubt, that across the African continent, there is a resurgence of a renewed interest and focus on local content as a national policy in many countries in Africa. In addition, the realm of coverage is fast expanding beyond the oil and gas industry to other sectors of the economy. I am pleased to note that you do not have to be an oil-producing country to practice local content. The COVID-19 pandemic has proven to all, take it or leave it, that local content is not just some fancy policy to be considered on the sidelines of national discourse. Only yesterday, I was watching some of the deliberations out of the United Nations. It was pathetic when I heard the South African president reading in his address and say 90% of the vaccine to tackle the COVID-19 is held by the developed countries. Only 1% of that has come to Africa. Is that not a proof that local content is the best way for us to go in Africa or in Nigeria? Look at the pandemic. So today we are in cap in hand, begging them for vaccines to stay alive. What else can challenge our spirit, if not something like the COVID-19, where we have to begin to think differently about what we do in our country and in Africa as a whole? Imagine if the world says, you know what, you're a dark continent, that's it, we are not going to give you vaccine, and by the way, we are restricting that you don't travel to our country, you stay there and suffer with the COVID. The only thing that is saving us and will continue to save us is the existence of God. Because the prediction by the naysayers on what COVID-19 will do to Africa has not come to pass. Because God himself knows that we probably don't have the capacity right now to deal with it, but even God himself gives us time to prepare ourselves. If we think that this is going to continue, it's going to be El Dorado without us preparing ourselves, then I guess when the pandemic will face us, we'll probably not be ready. It is often said that believe in God, or please lock your car. It must be at the core of the development agenda of any nation to dismantle poverty-inducing infrastructure, create jobs, promote empowerment, spread prosperity, and provide a sense of dignity for all its citizens. I want to specially thank His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari for providing me a platform to practice local content in the public sector. But to say the least, let me appreciate the tremendous support I have received from my very hard-working boss, the Honorable Minister of State of Petroleum Resources, Chief Tumi Priscilla, who is not only a believer of local content, but a believer of people and a supporter of people who thrive for change. Please, let's put our hands together for him. I also recognize the support and the collaboration with the Ministry of Petroleum Resources and other ministries, departments, and agencies of government at the federal and state levels, including Bayelsa State as the host of our head office. My special thanks to those who voted for me online and in person during the award selection process. Those votes are uniquely important as they serve as the needed tonic to bolster the various efforts in the development of local content. I recognize the ongoing collaboration with our brothers and sisters in Angola, Ghana, Sierra Leone, Senegal, Kenya, Mali, Uganda, Mozambique, Niger Republic, and many others as we march forward and compare notes in our local content journey. Let me put it on record that I have succeeded in this role simply because I have the full support of the management and staff of NCDMB. Please, can you stand up for recognition? These are the men and women who truly deserve this award. They have supported and been there with me in every step of the way. I recognize you and I thank you for your immense support. You may be seated. Thank you very much. Your commitment and dedication to duty, I can tell you, is second to none. I don't speak of it alone. Everybody that have interacted with us as a board come back to give a feedback to say you have behind you professionals who are supporting the aspiration of NCDMB. I thank you immensely for all your hard work. Even though I have not seen some of you for a while, due to the pandemic-induced restrictions in office working hours, you have continued to deliver on our mandate remotely to the delight of our admirers and perhaps to the envy of some. This award shows that our sweat has not been in vain as we continue to propagate the local content template beyond the shores of Nigeria to the continent of Africa. It is therefore my pleasure, while I accept this award as the African local content icon, all to the glory of God, but I wish to dedicate this award to my beautiful wife and lovely daughters. I guess I can see their smiles if they can beam them. They have been a pillar of support. So when Khadija, on behalf of the ladies, decided to read her address on behalf of the ladies, I think you need no proof on why I am a ladies' man. When you have 3 daughters and a wife in a situation where you are the minority at home, you must do everything to ensure that they are happy, because you deal with all manner of emotional tantrums. So where I find myself, I try to support all ladies so that they can give them a feedback to say, beyond the home front, you are also supporting the ladies outside there. So I dedicate this award to them. That is my wife, Sotoye, Nengi, my first daughter, and also my second daughter, Tonye. I think the other one is in a different location. That's Priye, my last daughter. I dedicate this award also to them, and I thank you very much for all your support. I know it's tough at times to always be traveling back and forth in the course of doing my duty, but you guys continue to inspire and support me. I really appreciate that, and thank you very much, and thank you very much indeed. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And I can only say thank you to the African Leadership Award, African Leadership Magazine, just to tell you that we have received several awards, but we have not paid this much attention that we have paid to this. This shows the uniqueness of this particular award. And most especially, thanks to my colleagues on the board for putting up this surprise. To be honest, when I came in yesterday, I thought they would come to the office and present the plaque to me, and that was it. I didn't know something of this nature was being put together. I'm highly humbled and really appreciate all your support and hard work. As we continue to push the boundaries with regards to local content development, I ask you guys not to give up. There is the headwind that we continue to face, but remember that the airplane takes off against the headwind. So no matter what the challenge is, we must come together and continue to soar. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.
Thank you very much, the Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board. A very pragmatic, industrious, hardworking leader, and indeed is worthy of being celebrated. Thank you very much. And sir, I have to say that even though you say you're in the minority, you know sometimes, please be seated, you know sometimes the minority report can be very powerful. I would like to, at this point, invite to take the vote of thanks the Director of Finance, please, Mr. Isaac Yala. Please put your hands together for him. Finance and Personal Management, for the vote of thanks.
So much has been said today, and we're so excited and very happy to have been here on behalf of our Executive Secretary. Before I start, there's a common saying that everything that has a beginning must have an end. And I'm so pleased and honored to have been asked to make this closing remark on behalf of my colleagues as directors and also management of NCDMB. First and foremost, I would like to thank God immensely for life and divine guidance that He has granted us throughout this event. We are most grateful for His mercy and compassion. I would like to specially appreciate and express our gratitude to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Mohammed Buhari, GCFR, for his commendable vision towards growing the Nigerian oil and gas sector and deeming it fit to reappoint our Executive Secretary, Engineer Simbi Wabote, for another 4-year term in office. Can we put a clap for him there? We are truly sincerely grateful to Mr. President for finding him worthy once again. On this note, Mr. President, we assure you that we'll continue to do our best to contribute more to the growth of the Nigerian oil and gas sector. Our deep gratitude also goes to the Honorable Minister for State, Petroleum Resources, His Excellency Chief Timipre Silva, our boss, for his unrelenting efforts in the state to grow the Nigerian oil and gas and moving Nigeria to a gas economy, which is viewed today as transition to fuel renewables. This has been a source of inspiration, a catalyst prodding us forward to our endeavors to grow the Nigerian oil and gas sector. We remain very, very grateful to His Excellency Chief Timipre Silva, our boss. Our warm acknowledgement also goes to the awarding body, the African Leadership Magazine. We welcome you in here to Yenagua. You're always welcome anytime to this our fantastic edifice. As we see this award, even as a great honor to find our Executive Secretary placed on such distinguished ranks as those of past honorees, of all of whom have made significant contributions to life's different endeavors. Allow me at this point in time to express my deep appreciation to the management and staff of NCDMB, a family style for innovation and accomplishment, which we are known for hosting this event. I'm really, really proud of you all and your achievements so far. I have this singular belief that this award conferment ceremony on the African local content icon, our honorable and amiable Executive Secretary, Engineer Simbi Wabote, will most definitely leave a trademark in our shared memories. We cannot conclude this program without mentioning the good families and friends of our Executive Secretary who are present here and those who join us virtually today and made their tight schedules to celebrate our Executive Secretary. We truly, really appreciate your support in making this occasion a big success, and equally thank you for participating fully. You are all wonderful people. Deservedly, on behalf of the great family of NCDMB, I would like also to express my sincere and unalloyed gratitude to those directly and indirectly involved in packaging this program, this event successfully, and to its utmost fulfillment. Thank you for all your efforts. Lastly and remarkably, I would like to once again congratulate our Executive Secretary, Engineer Simbi Wabote, for making us all proud. We are really, really proud today by attracting this icon award to himself and to the glory of God and service to humanity. On this note, I would like to use this opportunity to once again, at this moment, bring all of us together and then thank God that we have this moment and also say a journey message back to our various destinations. Thank you very much, and then we have lunch for you, so you enjoy yourself. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Director of Finance and Personal Management. And indeed, as we call this a wrap, I would like to say the month of September is very kind to you, ES. The month of September 2016, you were first appointed. And the month of September again, reappointed. And this month of September, this Africa Leadership Magazine Award. And you know, incidentally, I think it's because it's my birth month. Okay, we'll take the national anthem and then we'll proceed for lunch. Shall we please rise for the national anthem? You all safe journey as you go back to your various destinations. Okay, lunch is served on the 4th floor of the car park, please. 4th floor. Thank you.
Love is not enough, baby. Come to me, Molo. Love me or you hate me, know me. No mess with me, Mologo. NSC 250, Kumaloni Titi. Giuseppe's are naughty, in a Maserati. Hey, baby, easy. Fine boy like you, easy. You won't kiss somebody, follow sweet melody. Normally, oh, Jojo Molan luckily, oh, Molo Timo Feno. Me, I just want to be I.